Today, cryptocurrencies surge after Donald Trump wins the election. The crypto industry reacts to electoral victories for pro-crypto candidates up and down the ballot. And Seth Hertlein, VP and head of policy at Ledger, discusses what it all means for crypto going forward. Crypto markets surging after Donald Trump won the 2024 presidential election. As of noon Eastern, Bitcoin jumped nearly 6% to the $74,000 level after settling a new all-time high of $75,384 early this morning. Meanwhile, Ether surged nearly 8% to $2,657, and Solana soared more than 10%, trading at $186. Crypto stocks also popping this morning. Coinbase, which launched an advocacy group to support pro-crypto candidates, spiked more than 23%, Robinhood more than 15%, MicroStrategy up more than 10%, and Bitcoin miner Marathon nearly 15%. Now, broader markets also climbed as the S&P 500 jumped 2% as of noon Eastern. Now, the crypto industry is largely celebrating Trump's electoral victory. The president-elect made numerous campaign promises in favor of crypto innovation. At his headline speech at Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville, he said he'd ensure that the federal government does not sell its Bitcoin it seized in legal action. The elected president also pledged to, in his words, fire SEC Chair Gary Gensler. Under his leadership, the regulator has brought more than 100 enforcement actions to crypto companies, as he believes most of the industry must comply with existing securities laws. Now, understand, the president doesn't exactly have the authority to fire the chair, but can appoint someone else. If that were to happen, Gensler could still serve as commissioner. We asked the SEC about these calls from Trump now that he's president-elect, but didn't hear back right away. Galaxy Digital CEO Mike Novogratz, who supported VP Harris's White House run, joined CNBC this morning to discuss why he believes election night was good for the crypto industry.
If you go back to the speech he made at Nashville to the crypto community, his agenda is very pro-crypto. J.D. Vance is pro-crypto, Peter Thiel, Howard Lutnick, Kennedy. He surrounded himself by people that believe in the industry, care about the industry. I mean, the crypto community showed up.
Professional Capital Management founder and CEO Anthony Pompliano also joined Squawk Box to share his optimism for Bitcoin under President Trump.
I think one of the most important things is we have the first Bitcoin president. President Trump ran on a campaign point that he was going to protect Bitcoin, he was going to create a Bitcoin strategic reserve, and I think that you saw Bitcoin's price kind of reflect having somebody who was so pro-Bitcoin win the White House.
A more specific target for the crypto industry, however, was arguably in the House and Senate races. Donations poured from the sector into crypto PACs, which, according to the Federal Election Commission, brought in more than $245 million. Coinbase also launched an advocacy group, Stand with Crypto, to educate voters on who the organization deems as crypto-friendly candidates. Reacting to election results, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong welcomed new members of what he called America's most pro-crypto Congress ever. Since June of 2023, the company has been facing a legal challenge with the SEC, which accused the company of engaging in unregistered security sales. Its chief legal officer, Paul Grewal, took to X, taking aim at the SEC, saying he hopes the agency, quote, understands what has happened tonight. And Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, whose company has faced a years-long battle with the regulator, also took to X to affirm that the crypto voter is here to stay, and celebrating election victories across the House. All right, to find out more on what's next for the crypto industry under a second Trump administration, Crypto World's Jordan Smith spoke to Seth Hertlein, Vice President and Head of Policy at Ledger.
Seth, let's start with the market reaction to Donald Trump's victory. I mean, you saw Bitcoin surge overnight to new all-time highs. It's retreated a little bit so far today, but what's your reaction to this Trump rally and maybe where it sets the cryptocurrency up to end the year price-wise?
Well, I think it's really fitting that we reached a new all-time high on Election Day. I think that tells you how closely intertwined policy really is in the space for the industry and for the technology. The fact that those two events were linked, I think, is somewhat poetic of where we are right now.
I'm also curious because for a long time in this election, we've heard time and time again from the industry that the crypto voter is going to play a pivotal role in 2024. And we did see a lot of pro-crypto candidates score victories up and down the ballot. And I'm just curious, from your perspective, how successful this was to to bring out the crypto voter or make this a more central issue in 2024?
Yeah, thanks for that question, Jordan. You could really call this the first crypto election. I think for a technology that just celebrated its 16th birthday on Halloween, crypto played a tremendously outsized role in this election. You see that in the success of prediction markets like Polymarket over analog pollsters who got it wrong for the third election in a row. And you see it in the success of grassroots pro-crypto get out the vote efforts like Stand With Crypto that really made a huge impact in support of pro-crypto congressional candidates across both parties. But I think you don't see it anywhere as clearly as in the Ohio Senate race, where the industry backed a challenger taking on the sitting chair of the banking committee and won despite being massively overspent. And that result will send a resounding message back to DC that crypto is here for good.
I think it does sort of validate a lot of crypto investors' belief that the price performance would be better under a Trump administration, and we'll see how that plays out as we get through 2024 and 2025. But I do feel like they also believe that Donald Trump will be better for crypto policy from a policy perspective. So walk me through your expectations here, because he's called for things like a strategic Bitcoin reserve. He's talked about Bitcoin mining here in the U.S. What's the industry sort of thinking about or optimistic about getting done in this next administration?
Yeah, I think, really what we're just seeing is you could call it a relief rally of sorts. I think it's no secret that the industry in the U.S., its back has been up against the wall with the current administration. And so to me, this is like a spring. The further you push down on a spring, the stronger it springs back when you let go. And I think this spring back is exactly what we're seeing in the market today. In terms of what it means going forward, I think there's really two dynamics at play. You may have heard the adage that personnel is policy. And so I think the first thing that we'll see is very significant changes in personnel, especially at the top of key agencies in Washington, D.C. And I think that's really the immediate source of the relief that we're seeing manifest in the market today. And it's really sort of secondary to that. It'll come later that we'll actually see, I think, real policy proposals in the form of legislation or rulemaking start to get going, because that's really the harder work. Mm-hmm. So I think it's two phases. Right? Phase one is just sort of the relief of a lot of personnel changes in Washington. And really the change in stance, change of approach of the government toward the industry and toward the technology more generally. And then I think we'll start to see really positive legislative proposals or rulemaking develop that will pave the way for greater adoption, I think both retail and institutional.
Let's talk about that second leg for just a second, because we did see a lot of pro-crypto candidates win their races across the country, and it seems as though we could be poised to see real movement on crypto regulation in the next Congress. But we are starting from scratch, right? Like you mentioned, the heads of agencies may change faster than we actually see these bills come about. But if we are starting from scratch, what do you think is sort of the priority that you might see come out of Congress? Is it the stablecoin legislation that we've seen that seems to get some traction? Is it the frameworks that we've seen? What's on top of the list right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the certainly the two bills that got the most traction in the current Congress were stablecoin regulations and what a lot of the industry insiders referred to as market structure regulation. And that really relates to sort of exchanges and how centralized crypto intermediaries will function and be regulated in the future. I still think those are probably the lowest hanging fruit. I think that's probably where we'll see the most legislative effort sort of out of the gate in the new Congress.
Yeah. To go back to what you said about potential for heads of agencies changing and what that means for crypto, that has been posed as a potential roadblock to adoption so far, be it from the SEC or because of the CFTC or just general confusion. What's your expectation for adoption specifically among institutions or individuals in this next administration, or if you'll see a real difference in uptake compared to the Biden administration and what comes next?
Yeah, I think we will. I think a lot of the institutions have been waiting in the wings for the lifeguards to say it's okay to jump in the pool. I think we'll get that all clear very quickly. I think some of the first priorities of the new heads of some of these agencies will be to very expressly, very explicitly signal that the tone has changed. I think that's all the encouragement that institutions will need to dive into the market in size. I think secondly, and this is more on the retail side, I think what we'll see is that we now know that the right to self-custody will be protected in the U.S. And Ledger is the leader in digital asset security for individuals and institutions alike. We produce state-of-the-art secure touchscreen devices that have uncompromising security and accessibility for your digital assets. And these products are more in demand now than ever before, and I think that will only continue to grow.
Yeah, I was going to say, focusing just on Ledger specifically, how are you thinking about moving your business into the next couple of years? Are there things that you're thinking about changing in terms of adoption or policy or strategy that we should be looking out for?
Yeah, I don't think we have to change really anything. I think we've done a lot of the hard work over the last bear market to change the things that we need to change and make the adjustments that we need to make. I think we're very well positioned. We have a great suite of products across both the retail and enterprise market segments, and I think we're really sort of poised to drive on the key messages that we're going to see come out of the change in tone, change in temperature, especially in the U.S.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today. We're back again tomorrow. We'll see you then.